The music was loud, the house full of relatives, laughter bouncing off the walls like nothing in this family had ever gone wrong. It was my parents' anniversary party, and everyone had gathered in the living room of the house we all grew up in. I stood near the kitchen doorway, holding a glass of juice, watching my sister move through the crowd like she owned the place. Confident, loud, dramatic, just like always. Except this time, there was something different in her tone. Something sharper. She clinked her glass with a spoon to get everyone's attention. Conversations faded. All eyes turned to her. "I have an announcement," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Now, I'm the owner of this house." A few people clapped, politely, confused. Others looked at my parents, who nodded awkwardly. Then she looked straight at me. "And you," she said loudly, pointing, "should probably get out. This isn't your house anymore." The room went silent. You could feel the air shift. Some cousins looked at me with sympathy. An aunt gasped softly. My parents avoided my eyes. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I didn't react, because I already knew something she didn't. Months earlier, my parents had told me they were handling the property matters. They had hinted that my sister would be taking over the house because she was married and needed stability. I hadn't argued. I hadn't questioned them. I had simply asked one thing, to see the documents before anything was finalized. They had waved me off, saying it was just paperwork. But I work in a field where paperwork is never just paperwork. So I had quietly done my own checking. What I discovered had surprised me. Yes, my parents had tried to transfer the house to my sister. Yes, papers had been prepared. Yes, signatures had been placed. But one crucial detail had stopped everything from being legally valid. The original property agreement, signed years ago, had both my name and my father's name on it. A technicality at the time. A decision made because I was the one who handled the loan process, the legal filings, and most of the financial planning when the house was purchased. Back then, it meant nothing. Now, it meant everything. Without my signature, the ownership transfer could never be completed, and I had never signed anything. So when my sister proudly announced she was the owner and told me to leave, I felt no anger, only a strange calm. She was celebrating something that legally didn't exist. I slowly put my glass down on the counter and walked toward the center of the room. Everyone watched, waiting. My sister crossed her arms. "Did you hear me?" she said. "You need to go." I looked at her, then at my parents, then at the guests. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," I said quietly. She laughed. "No misunderstanding. Papers are done. This is my house now." I nodded. "That's interesting, because legally it isn't." You could hear people shifting in their seats. Someone coughed. A spoon fell in the kitchen and clattered loudly in the silence. My sister's smile didn't disappear, but it froze in place. "What do you mean?" I took my phone out calmly and opened a scanned copy of the original property agreement. I had kept it saved for years without thinking much about it. Tonight, it felt like the only thing that mattered. "This house," I said, holding the screen up slightly, was purchased with a joint ownership structure. Dad and I, not just Dad. My father's head snapped toward me. My mother's hand tightened around the edge of the table. My sister laughed again, but this time it sounded forced. "That's old paperwork. Things change." "Not legally," I replied, "not without both signatures." I stepped closer to her, lowering my voice but making sure everyone could still hear. "Did you ever see my signature on the transfer documents?" She hesitated, just for a second, but that second was loud. Dad handled it," she said. I looked at my father. He looked down. That told the whole story. They had tried to transfer the house quietly, hoping I wouldn't notice, assuming I wouldn't check, assuming I would just accept whatever they told me, like always. But paperwork doesn't work on assumptions. The transfer was prepared, I continued calmly, but never completed, because legally it can't be, without me. A murmur spread across the room. Relatives whispering. Realizations spreading like slow ink in water. My sister's confidence started cracking. "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying," I replied, "that you're celebrating ownership of something you don't own." She turned to my parents. "Is this true?" They didn't answer. That silence was heavier than any confession. Her face flushed red. "You did this on purpose," she snapped at me. "No," I said. "I did nothing. That's the point. I didn't sign." She stepped toward me, angry now. "You're trying to embarrass me in front of everyone." I shook my head slightly. "You embarrassed yourself the moment you told me to get out of a house you don't legally own." The room felt tense, uncomfortable. But I wasn't done. I never objected when you said you needed stability. I never argued when Mom and Dad said they wanted to give you security. I just wanted transparency. I looked at my parents. "But you tried to do this quietly, without telling me, without asking me, like I didn't matter in a house I helped build." My mother finally spoke, voice shaky. "We thought you wouldn't mind." "That's the problem," I said softly. "You thought. You didn't ask." My sister's anger had shifted into something else now. Confusion, fear, realization. "So what now?" she asked. "Now," I said calmly, "nothing changes, because nothing actually changed in the first place." I turned toward the guests. "Please enjoy the party. There's no drama here, just paperwork that someone misunderstood." A few nervous laughs broke the tension. Conversations slowly resumed. But the mood had changed permanently. My sister didn't speak for the rest of the evening. She avoided me, avoided everyone. Later, when most guests had left, my parents asked me to sit down. My father spoke first. "We didn't think this would happen like this." I nodded. "That's because you didn't think I would know." He didn't deny it. "We were trying to help her," my mother said quietly. "I know," I replied. And I was never against that. I was against being erased. That word hung in the air. Erased. Because that's exactly what they had tried to do. Remove my presence from the story of a house I helped create. "I'm not here to fight for the house," I said. "I'm here to remind you that I exist in its history." They both looked tired, guilty, smaller than I had ever seen them. That night, I went home with no anger in my chest. Just clarity. My sister had shouted, "Get out!" But in trying to push me out, she had exposed a truth none of them expected. You can't remove someone from a foundation they helped build. A week later, my sister called. Her voice was quiet, nothing like the party. She didn't argue. She didn't accuse. She just asked one thing. "Why didn't you tell us earlier?" I answered honestly, "Because I was waiting for you to ask." After that, something shifted. Not just legally, but emotionally. They stopped trying to rewrite history, and I stopped needing to defend my place in it.